We're just coming out of Game Week 34. FA Cup semi-finals have just happened. We're going to talk about that in this video, as well as Game Week 34 results, how Game Week 35 is looking, how we're going to be setting up. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, hit the notifications, and let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's start with Game Week 34. This is how it's setting up this week. There is one game still to be played, which is going to be on Thursday between Forest and Brentford. I still have Mbeumo to play, but 78 points with Mbeumo still to play is a pretty good score. I'm sitting on a nice little green arrow, probably about 100,000 positions. We had some decent differentials this week on the bench. Unfortunately, made some, I wouldn't say wrong decisions, but ultimately it just didn't work out to be as efficient as it could have been with just Essar, Sessegnon on the bench. It's just, it's a lot of points to not have in the first team. 78 points, like I said, it's a good game week. How did you guys do? Let me know in the comments. And how were you setting up for game week 35? So let's look at how we're setting up in game week 35. So going with Raya in goal, Gvardiol, Saliba and Konate in defence. I mean, the defence looks all right. Obviously, Bournemouth aren't exactly the easiest attacking team to deal with, but Arsenal do have a decent defence, and I like Saliba and Raya this week. Gvardiol against Wolves. I think last time they played, Gvardiol actually scored, and Gvardiol scored in the FA Cup as well. So, fingers crossed, he keeps that going. Jacob Murphy is one that we definitely need to look into because he has come off first in the last 5 or 6 games that he has played and obviously been substituted over Barnes. So Barnes is probably the most locked in as far as minutes as it stands, but obviously Jacob Murphy is still getting results. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Do we want to waste a transfer on him or not? I'm not sure I'm willing to do that, but we'll have to see as time goes on. Obviously, there's only a few game weeks left, but I have a long week to make decisions. I've not made any transfers yet, so we're going to decide on transfers closer to the end of the week when we have confirmation of double game week 36. Mo Salah is my vice as it stands, playing Chelsea away. Ismail Assar, obviously he did very well in the FA Cup, but has done absolutely nothing in the Premier League for me. I don't want to waste the transfer in bringing in Eze because I want a Palace player, but I'm almost certain I'm going to have to do that. So again, I'm not making any transfers yet, but that's something that I'm thinking about. Bukayo Saka. Now Saka, he is one that we're probably going to have to move on if we want minutes, because playing in the Champions League, I mean, it's Tuesday, in filming this now, it's Tuesday morning, and they're playing tonight against PSG. How that game ends is going to completely dictate how Saka is going to be played in the Premier League. So we have to pay attention to that. Obviously, these are decisions that are going to have to be made at the end of the game week. Sorry, at the end of the week, so that we have a better idea on who's likely to play or not. But I don't think Saka is likely to get a lot of minutes in the Premier League, as Arsenal only have the Champions League to look forward to, and they need Saka. They need him. Marmoush is my captain currently, playing Wolves at home, which is very interesting. I think Marmoush can return in this game. Obviously, Wolves have been doing quite well recently, but they don't have the best defense. They've been attacking pretty well, but they don't have the best defense, and I think City, the way they're playing at the moment, can definitely take advantage of them. Isak against Brighton. Now, I think it was 1-0 last time they played, and Isak didn't get anything out of that. So Brighton have looked all right recently, but obviously defensively they are not the best. Isak has been getting returns, so I don't know. If you don't have him, I don't think he is the be-all, end-all player to bring in this week. But I wouldn't say don't bring him in, but just if you have him, hold him. If you don't have him, I don't think necessarily need to bring him in. Mateta against Forest. Now, Forest have a good defense. Mateta has been in an uptake of form. That goal against Arsenal was unbelievable. And he has that. He has that quality to be able to do things like that. So, I'm holding on to Mateta. Again, this week, I wouldn't say bring him in. If you have him, don't sell him. If you don't have him, don't bring him in. It's one of those. I think the player like Ollie Watkins is probably going to be quite important now. I mean, Watkins against Fulham might be a very good shout. And with Rashford out, I believe for the rest of the season, Watkins is going to be locked in. So a bit more expensive if you can afford him, but Watkins might be someone to go for this week. I've got Martinez and Asensio on the bench. I'm thinking of moving Asensio out for Morgan Rogers, which will be an interesting move. I just don't trust Asensio anymore. I think after he missed those 2 penalties, I've just held on to him just for the sake of it, thinking, oh, he's going to do something, but he just never does. I've got Munoz on the bench currently because they're playing Forest. I think Forest's attack are pretty good with Wood back now. If you watch the FA Cup, Morgan Gibbs-White hit the post twice. I think someone else hit the post once. I think it was Alanga. They are dangerous. They are very, very dangerous. It could be a long day for Palace. It could be. So I'm holding off. I'm putting Munoz on the bench for now. I like the Konate, Saliba, Gvardiol at the back as it stands. Bradley is my last defender. He's just someone that I brought in while Trent was out. Not going to be using him. I'm going to be looking to move him on between now and the end of the season, just to potentially get another Liverpool player in. But if I'm not going to get another Liverpool player in, I'll just hold on to him there. He's just cheap, someone to be on the bench. Now let's go into the double game week 36. Now we don't know exactly what's going to be happening in double game week 36 just yet. We know who can double and when they double, but it's all potential now. We need confirmation. As it stands, the teams that will be doubling in game week 36 is going to be Manchester City, Crystal Palace, Tottenham, and Wolves. Those 4 teams could double in game week 36. We should have confirmation before the game week 35 deadline. There's no guarantee, but we should have confirmation. But as it stands, those are the teams that are going to be doubling. So you're going to be wanting to use your transfers to bring at least a few of them in. I wouldn't go heavy and bring a whole 12 players in to double, because then obviously those players that double, they blank in game week 37, and then it almost is, unless you still have your free hit or a chip of some kind, it's just not worth it, especially for the players that you're going to be able to get. Obviously, we already have the likes of the City players and the Palace players. So a lot of us already have them. So we don't need to make too many transfers to bring those players in. But it's the Wolves players. Again, a few of us brought in those Wolves players for game week 34, which worked out really well with the likes of Cunha, with the likes of Aït-Nouri, Strand Larsen, all worked very, very well. Hold on to them. Game week 36, they could double. So it'll be very, very interesting game week. Just be careful. I'm going to say it again. Be careful. If they double in game week 36, they blank in game week 37. Make sure you've got a plan to play at least 11 players in that game week. If you can't, it's not worth bringing in double game week players, because you just lose out the next game week. If we go over some of those teams, I mean, a lot of us, like I said, have Manchester City, so Gvardiol, Marmoush. Rico Lewis is an interesting option if you can't afford Gvardiol, as he's actually been doing quite well. He scored in their last game, which is very interesting, and he's got decent underlying stats. The only thing is rotation. I'm just scared of rotation with any Man City player. The only players that I'm really comfortable with is Gvardiol, Marmoush, Ruben Diaz, and but that's about it really. Maybe Gundogan, someone like that kind of plays, but doesn't really get those returns, but has surprisingly been getting a few returns. So interesting options, but massive punts. I just like Gvardiol and Marmoush, if I'm honest. Then on to the Crystal Palace, the Crystal Palace players. Ismail Assar is an option. I have him. I wouldn't have him if I had a choice. I'd be moving on to Eberechi Eze, as Eze has been doing unbelievable things at the moment. Mateta, again, he's one that he's got all the ability in the world to absolutely destroy anybody. It's just he's not been super consistent recently. And then Munoz is just that attacking defender that plays as a winger. So he's always a brilliant player to have. So for me, if I could, I'd be moving Sar out, bringing in Eze, Munoz, Mateta, and I'm happy with those three Palace players. Now, the only thing is, how do we play these double players in game week 36 and still hold on to game week 37 players? If I had to do that right now, I've got 2 transfers. I might have to hold my transfers this week to go into the next 2 game weeks, being able to transfer in playing players for game week 37. So I might not be able to make transfers this week, just so I can make sure I have players in game week 37 that play. So don't be too hasty. Don't just run in and go, oh, I want as many game week players as I can. It can really backfire in game week 37 because they will not play. And that's the last thing you need. You don't want that. I'm already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I don't really have many bench players that can take their places. So, yes, be careful. So, with game week 35 round the corner, deadline is on Friday this week. Keep that in mind. Friday deadline, Manchester City playing Wolves. Make sure you lock those teams in. Like, subscribe so you get notifications about updates that I'm making. I'm going to be putting out a few updates this week just so you guys are prepared for the end of the season. If you're liking the video, please like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.